every year during landing. Its name is St. Barthélemy. To land here, a plane has to pass over a roundabout and then dive down sharply because there is a small hill right before the runway. If the plane lands too early, it will crash straight into the ground, and if it's even slightly late, it could end up in the ocean. Due to its short length, only small turboplanes or light private jets can land here. If a bird collides with a helicopter at high speed, the pilot could get injured and the helicopter might even crash. To prevent such accidents' impact, resistant windshields are designed for helicopters. These windshields are made of polycarbonate and acrylic materials, which are super durable. Even if a bird hits them, there's no issue, and they can even withstand a strike from a 10-kilogram hammer without breaking. That's why the military also uses them for extra protection. Before constructing a building, the ground is compacted using a dynamic compaction machine. This process removes air pockets from the soil, making it denser and more stable. However, if you need to compact the soil for a house using these heavy machines, will strengthen your foundation, but can also damage nearby buildings. That's why people use a stamping hammer in such areas. Once started, this hammer jumps automatically using its own weight around 100 kilograms to compact the soil effectively. This is a laser stone engraving machine. It uses a high-powered laser to etch designs, text, and images onto stone. Just upload a design, place the stone, and let the laser do its magic. You can engrave portraits, logos, memorial plaques, and even luxury decor. By doing this, you can earn thousands of dollars. Recently, the Weizmann Institute of Science conducted a competition between humans and ants to test their group problem-solving speed. In this experiment, the goal was to remove a T-shaped structure from the maze. However, the condition was that humans were not allowed to communicate with each other. So without communication, could the smartest species solve this puzzle? There were some flaws in the experiment, like the difference in size, but ants still managed to beat humans by a few seconds. The reason behind this is that unlike humans, ants don't think individually. Instead, they work in perfect coordination, almost like a single organism. Some might argue that this experiment is unfair because humans weren't allowed to talk, while ants could communicate using pheromones. But consider the huge difference in brain size and the fact that there were way more ants than humans. Why aren't sailors on an aircraft carrier allowed to feed fish? Well, it's because throwing food in the water doesn't just attract small fish, it also brings in bigger sea creatures like sharks and whales, which can cause problems for the carrier. And if the ship is near the coast, feeding fish can attract a massive number of seagulls, making it nearly impossible for fighter jets to take off. That's why sailors are strictly ordered. If you want, you can eat the fish, but never feed them. Why do some airplane engines have that fancy design at the back? And what's the purpose of the metal rod in front of the engine? If there's any object on the runway, the engine can pull it in because a vortex forms in front of it. But adding a rod in front of the engine disturbs this vortex, preventing objects from being sucked in. As for that fancy haircut on some engines, it's called chevrons. They're job noise reduction. But not all engines use them because they slightly reduce fuel efficiency. They tried everything to save fuel, but only one idea changed the world. There was a time when scientists thought, why not launch rockets horizontally to save fuel? In this process, the rocket would accelerate on a rail track using electromagnets and easily reach space while conserving fuel. But later they realized that while this method could save fuel, it would be extremely expensive. Then came another idea to launch rockets using drones at 60,000 feet. However, this wouldn't work for heavy rockets. After that, scientists considered spin launch, where a rocket would be spun and thrown into space. But after just one test, this experiment failed too. And then came Elon Musk, who shocked the world by creating reusable vertically landing rockets. Did you know the grass on football and cricket fields is specially farmed before being installed? The grass laid on big football and cricket grounds is placed using a special machine which allows it to be removed and replaced whenever needed. But where does this grass come from? Is it real or artificial? Let's find out. Whether it's a cricket match or a football game, artificial grass is never used. Only natural grass is installed. This grass is specially grown on farms and once ready, it is cut along with the soil and transported to stadiums for installation. In ancient times, toilets were designed to extend outside the castle walls so that wealthy people could relieve themselves through a hole. However, this luxury was only for the rich. So where did the poor go? Well, they had two options. Either take a pot and go out in the open, or use a pit latrine. A pit latrine was a deep hole dug several meters into the ground, covered with a structure that had an opening. Over the course of 5 to 6 years, the poor would gradually fill it up. You may have seen this V-shaped extra rail in the middle of train tracks and thought it was just a design or unnecessary metal, but in reality, this is called a guard rail. If this guard rail wasn't there, a derailed train could destroy nearby structures like bridges. When a train derails, one of its wheels gets trapped between the guardrail and the main rail, preventing it from going too far off track. This helps minimize damage to the surroundings. That's why guardrails are also installed on bridges, tunnels, and sharp curves to enhance safety. This ordinary-looking vehicle is actually more expensive than a luxury Rolls-Royce with a starting price of over $10 million. Now, you might be wondering what's so special about it. Well, it's called an aircraft towing tractor, also known as an airplane tug. Its job is simple to lift and move airplanes from one place to another. There are two types of towing tractors, towing bar tug and towing bar-less tug. The first one, as the name suggests, uses a towing bar to connect the tractor to the aircraft and move it. The second type is a bit more expensive, but it has the advantage of not needing a towing bar. Instead, it simply secures the aircraft's wheels, lifts them, and moves the plane at a speed of 25 to 30 kilometers per hour to park it. Now, you might be thinking, why can't an airplane do this on its own? Unlike cars, airplanes need engine thrust to move forward, which consumes a huge amount of fuel. Plus, airplanes don't have a reverse gear. The world's most dangerous airline is Aerosuker, a Colombia-based airline known for its unusual ways of crashing planes. They currently have 6 airplanes, but have already crashed 16. Aerosuker is the biggest rule breaker, especially when it comes to overloading. They stuff so much cargo into their planes that they sometimes can't even take off. They also make careless mistakes like leaving cargo doors open or flying planes like toys until they crash. In 2016, they crashed right after takeoff because the plane was overloaded. The worst part? They officially ban passengers on their planes, but still sneak them in illegally. The average cost of a wind turbine ranges from $2 to $4 million, but if we talk about the largest ones, a single wind turbine can cost up to $400 million. To prevent such expensive turbines from destroying themselves during a storm, they are equipped with brakes. These brakes automatically activate to bring the turbine under control before it goes out of control. However, brakes are the last resort. The first step is to adjust the angle of the blades. Changing the blade angle reduces the area exposed to the wind, which decreases the speed. Once the speed is reduced, there's nothing else to worry about. This is the saddest line ever said by a rover. Actually, the Mars rover named Opportunity was sent to Mars by scientists for only 90 days, but due to its solar panels, it stayed on Mars for almost 14 years, traveled about 45 kilometers, and sent many pictures of Mars. However, due to a massive storm, its solar panels got covered, and when it was about to shut down, it sent its final message to its home Earth. The message was, "My battery is very low, and everything is getting dark," which were the saddest lines ever said by a rover.
My battery's getting low. It'll soon be my time to go. The screen is cracked and I can't see, but I just hope you are listening to my little rhyme that I made for you. Somebody out there that cannot hear my news.
Some laws around the world might make you think a crazy person made them, and wait till you hear the last one, it'll blow your mind. Singapore gum chewing is illegal. In Singapore, chewing gum is completely banned. You can't import, sell, or chew it. Breaking this law can cost you up to $1,000 as a fine for first-time offenders. Switzerland, no flushing toilets at night. In some Swiss apartments, flushing the toilet after 10 p.m. is illegal. It's considered noise pollution, and you could face eviction warnings or landlord penalties for breaking this rule. Australia. Changing a light bulb requires a license. In Victoria, Australia, changing a light bulb without a license is illegal. If you're caught, you might face fines of up to $10 Australian per incident. This goat makes a joke out of gravity because it often climbs mountains as if gravity doesn't even exist. And to help it climb, it has special hooves that are split into two parts which work like rubber soles to give it a strong grip. This allows the goat to climb rocky cliffs and escape from wild animals to save its life. Just like the time when a bear chased this goat, the goat managed to balance itself on a mountain, but the bear lost its balance and, desperate to eat, ended up being a dead piece itself. This plant came from Russia and has now spread all over America. It actually starts from flax seeds, which were mixed with tumbleweed seeds in the 18th century. Don't underestimate tumbleweeds, because one seed can grow into a plant that spreads thousands of seeds far and wide. These tumbleweeds are so dangerous that they destroy farmland in America. They are also highly flammable. So if a fire starts, they roll quickly with the wind, spreading the fire everywhere. For example, if a crop catches fire, tumbleweeds can roll to nearby fields and set them on fire too. Once tumbleweeds spread, there's no way to completely get rid of them. Even if they don't get water, they can survive in seed form for up to 100 years. And even if the entire country works together to remove them, leaving just one tumbleweed behind can cause them to spread all over again. Did you know that after your car breaks down, up to 75% of it can be recycled? Recycling is done because the steel from 6 cars is enough to build a brand new steel frame house. Additionally, recycling helps save resources and reduces greenhouse gas emissions. Before recycling, the car's oil and battery are removed. Then the car is placed into a car smasher, which crushes it, and later it goes into a shredder that tears it apart in just seconds. After that, a powerful magnet separates the steel, which is then sent to a steel mill where it's melted down and reused for other purposes. This is the world's largest plane, named Stratolaunch ROC, with a wingspan of 385 feet, which is even larger than a football field. At first glance, this massive plane looks like 2 giant aircraft fused together, as if it were designed to carry double the passengers. However, in reality, it is neither meant for passengers nor cargo. Its purpose is to bypass traditional launch pads and launch rockets directly from the air. The plane can carry rockets up to an altitude of 35,000 feet before launching them. It is powered by 6 powerful Boeing 747 engines, producing enough thrust to carry a payload of up to 250 tons. Last year, this massive plane successfully launched a rocket into the air. After the Bermuda Triangle, there's another place where no plane dares to fly. It's called the Tibetan Plateau. Flying over it is like inviting disaster, because this region is already at a very high altitude, and on top of that, it's surrounded by towering mountains with an average elevation of 15,000 feet. You might wonder, planes fly at 35,000 feet. So what's the issue? The problem arises in case of an emergency. Sometimes planes need to descend to around 10,000 feet. And if that happens here, the plane won't have enough space to maneuver and could crash. Additionally, the weather in this area is highly unpredictable and changes frequently, making it even riskier. That's why planes avoid flying over this region entirely. As soon as a person's foot gets caught in a chainsaw, it immediately stops. But how does a chainsaw capable of cutting through wood like butter fail in this case? Well, it's all thanks to these special trousers made with aramid fiber, which is 5 times stronger than steel. When the blade comes into contact with the trousers, the fibers tangle up in the machine, jamming it instantly. However, don't ever try this with regular pants, or you might end up losing a leg for life. Have you ever wondered how the sun keeps burning when there's no oxygen in space? Let's find out. First of all, the sun doesn't burn like things on Earth. If it did, it would have burned out like a candle long ago. The sun's energy comes from hydrogen and gravity. About 70% of the sun is hydrogen, 27% is helium, and the remaining 2% includes elements like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, and others. When the sun's intense gravity compresses hydrogen, it produces helium through a process called nuclear fusion, also known as hydrogen burning. However, nothing actually burns in the traditional sense. Instead, when two hydrogen atoms collide, they release energy in the form of heat and light. That's the same light we see on Earth. Look at this panda carefully, because when it breaks bamboo, it gives expressions as if it's putting in a lot of effort, even though other pandas break bamboo quite easily. So why does it do this? Actually, when this panda was born, its mother left it while she was still alive. After that, it was raised by humans. Since breaking bamboo is very hard for humans, they used to give such expressions while trying. This innocent panda thought that making those expressions was some kind of tradition. So now, whenever it breaks bamboo, it shows its teeth and acts the same way. The anchors used on ships weigh over 10 tons, yet these same anchors hold vessels weighing up to 200,000 tons in place. How is such a challenging task accomplished? The speed of a moving ship is controlled by its engine, but when the ship needs to remain stationary, the anchor is dropped into the water. This anchor prevents the ship from drifting due to ocean currents. Attached to the anchor is a thick and long chain that ensures it reaches the seabed. You've probably seen these doors closing on planes, but what exactly are they? Well, they're called target-type thrust reversers, and they're used during landing. When the pilot activates thrust reversal, these doors close in such a way that the engine's exhaust flow is redirected. This reversal helps the plane decelerate quickly. Simply put, these doors act like brakes for the plane. Have you ever wondered why airplane food doesn't taste great or why it's never as flavorful? Well, here's the reason. When you're on a plane, the food tends to taste bland because the humidity level inside the cabin drops to about 10%, which is even lower than the Sahara Desert. This causes your nose to dry out, reducing your ability to taste and smell properly. As a result, the food feels less tasty than it actually is. At the airport, a worker suddenly throws a device near an airplane which goes up slightly before exploding with a loud blast. Meanwhile, an airplane is taking off nearby. Why would he do this? Let me explain. Sometimes when an airplane is about to take off and there are many birds nearby, small explosive devices are thrown. The loud noise scares the birds away, allowing the airplane to take off safely. These birds have incredibly unique and intense sounds. First, the Australian bustard. When it opens its mouth, it sounds like a lion roaring. Next is the screaming pia. Its call is just like a police siren. Then there's the lyre bird, which can mimic any sound, just like it's doing right now. Finally, the kiwi. It's a small bird with a big voice. Helicopter blades are incredibly strong, and this video will show you just how durable they are. Watching helicopter incidents might make you think their blades are fragile, but that's not true. Back in 2012, 3 people went fishing in a helicopter. After landing, a sudden, strong gust of wind caused the helicopter to tilt, and its blade struck them. The impact was so powerful that it cut all 3 of them in half. This is why no one, even a lightweight person, should go near a running helicopter. There are 2 airports in the world that are considered the most unique and challenging for pilots to land on. The first is Gisborne Airport in New Zealand. What makes it so dangerous is the railway track that runs directly across its runway. Trains pass through this track daily, making landing at this airport a highly demanding task for pilots. The second is Kansai Airport in Japan. This airport is built on a floating artificial island, making it one of the most extraordinary airports in the world. However, if a plane overshoots the runway, it risks falling directly into the sea. Have you heard of any other such dangerous airports? The engine of a plane is so powerful that it can even pull in flying birds. So why don't they just put a mesh in front of it? Well, plane engines are designed to take in as much air as possible, Adding a mesh would reduce the airflow, leading to less thrust and higher fuel consumption. Moreover, if the mesh breaks due to a bird strike, it could cause the engine to explode. That's why engines are equipped with durable blades, which can shred any bird that gets pulled into tiny pieces, minimizing the impact on the engine's performance. Astronauts sweat a lot while wearing a spacesuit. First, they wear a thin suit with water tubes that help keep their body cool. After that, they get into another suit that looks more like a box than a regular suit. Most of the essential equipment like batteries, an oxygen tank, and a water tank are located in the back of this suit. Once the suit is on, astronauts perform a few exercises to ensure they can move their hands and legs freely. This process is very challenging because a single suit can weigh up to 100 kilograms. However, astronauts don't feel the weight due to the microgravity environment in space. Stay connected with our channel for more informative videos. If you cut open the nose of a plane, you'll see this round object. But what exactly is it? Well, when a plane takes off, it sometimes encounters dangerous storms. To avoid such situations, planes are equipped with this device, which is a weather radar. It sends out radio waves up to 200 miles, using physics to detect how far and severe a storm is. This allows the pilot to steer clear and safely avoid the storm. Imagine if we moved away from traditional round pedaling and introduced a new up and down pedaling system, presenting a revolutionary cycle design, featuring a unique transmission system that makes riding more efficient. Analyzing traditional cycles revealed that their pedaling motion generates torque in a simple parabolic curve, causing significant energy wastage. To solve this issue, engineers developed a rotating drum design where pedals move vertically. A 2D model shows that when a wave track is pushed, the vertical rod moves up and down. Applying this concept to a 3D model, the waves are wrapped around the drum, resulting in highly efficient power transfer. This design ensures that half the torque cycle operates at its peak, offering significantly higher efficiency compared to traditional designs. Beneath the drum are gears connected to the bicycle's gear system, which rotate the wheels. This innovative design makes cycling easier and far more enjoyable than ever before. When a mosquito lands on us, it first spits on our skin to numb the area, then it inserts its 6 needles into us. 2 of these needles are for cutting through the skin to create an entry point. 2 work like tissue holders, and 1 needle searches for a blood vessel. This part takes a lot of effort. Once it finds the vessel, it starts sucking blood. Meanwhile, the 6th needle keeps injecting saliva to block our pain receptors, allowing the mosquito to fill up its tank without us feeling it. If a pilot doesn't do this before takeoff, the plane could even crash. This process is called fuel sumping, done just before the airplane takes off. In this process, fuel is taken out of the airplane's fuel tank through a small tube. There are 2 main reasons for this. First, to check for any dust particles in the fuel, as airplanes need to use completely pure fuel. Second, to remove any water from the fuel. If the water isn't removed, it could freeze at high altitudes, making it difficult for fuel to reach the engine, which could lead to a plane crash. All submarines around the world are painted black to blend in with the deep ocean, making them harder to spot. So why is Kim Jong's submarine green? Don't assume it's just because he wants to be different. Submarines are typically black to stay hidden in deep waters, but North Korea's green submarines have a strategic reason. They operate in the East Sea, where the water has a greenish tint, so North Korea paints its submarines green to blend in more easily with the ocean color in that area. When this bearing was spun at several hundred kilometers per hour using a machine and then released onto the ground, you can see in the video that once it reached its high speed and was let go, it started sparking on the ground due to its high speed. That looks amazing. Hit like if you want to see more videos like this. This is a material that can make anyone incredibly strong. Meet D30. It may look soft and flexible, but it's far from it. If you wrap it around your hand and hit it with a hammer with full force, you won't feel a thing. Not just that, if you wrap it around an egg and drop it on the ground, The egg won't even crack. Now imagine if a jacket were made from this material, it could protect you from any kind of attack, working like a real-life Iron Man suit. D3O is a non-Newtonian fluid, meaning it doesn't behave like regular fluids. The moment it experiences high impact or pressure, it instantly hardens and reduces the force. Because of this unique property, D3O is used in various products like helmets and gloves to protect people from injuries. It's even used in mobile phone covers to absorb shocks and keep your phone safe. When the horse kicks the glass door, it doesn't break, but when it falls to the ground, it shatters. Similarly, when the glass door falls, it doesn't break, but if a hammer hits it, it shatters. Why does this happen? That's the unique property of tempered glass. When pressure is applied over a large area, or when it's dropped, the force spreads evenly across the entire glass so it doesn't break. However, when hit with something like a hammer, the force is concentrated in a small area. This focused force is too much for the glass to handle, causing it to break into pieces. This man earned thousands of dollars by doing this. This man comes to the beach daily and collects sand using this sieve. After removing the sand, he often finds tin cans and sometimes even valuable items. He then melts the tin cans and creates precious items from them, which he sells to earn thousands of dollars. This is one of the rarest tank designs in history that moves by jumping on one leg. It might look strange and dangerous to you, but it was designed to have 6 guns and no weak points. It's called the hopping tank, also known as the pogo tank. A diesel engine is installed in the center which powers its central leg, allowing it to jump. To maintain balance, it's equipped with a large gyroscope. Now you might wonder if it's so great. Why was it never built? The truth is, it works well on paper, but making it practical in real life is impossible. If it jumps on one leg, the limited surface area would cause the leg to sink into the ground instead of lifting off. And just imagine what would happen to the people inside if it actually managed to jump. When the player missed the ball, he stunned the world. Instead of blaming himself, he stopped immediately, realizing it wasn't his mistake. He began examining the spot where the ball was bouncing. After observing, he noticed the ball was bouncing less in one area and more in another. The player quickly identified the dead spot on the floor and explained that a good player knows their ball, but in this case, the floor was uneven. The brightest thing in the universe is actually a black hole, which is 500 trillion times more luminous than our sun. But how is it shining so brightly? Well, it's all thanks to the fastest growing black hole in our universe, which consumes matter equivalent to the size of the sun every single day. Because of its massive size, this black hole pulls in and spins the surrounding matter at incredible speeds. This causes everything to collide, releasing a tremendous amount of energy that appears to us as light. This spectacular phenomenon is called a quasar, and it's the brightest thing ever discovered in our universe. Have you ever wondered why there's a small gate on the side of a ship? And what happens when water enters through this gate? Well, it's called the pilot door, and it's only found on large ships. It's designed to allow marine pilots to board the ship. However, sending a pilot through this small gate is quite a challenging task. Sometimes pilots fall into the water, and occasionally water enters the ship through this gate, but the ship still doesn't sink because the door area has a drainage system that pumps the water back out. What makes the owl so intimidating that every bird fears it? Even dangerous eagles are afraid of it. But why? The truth is, the owl is a predator that attacks in the dark when other birds are asleep. This is because the owl has night vision, and on top of that, it flies without making any sound. This allows it to silently attack and eat other birds' eggs, and due to the darkness, no one can stop it. Which bird do you like the most? Let me know in the comments. The world's longest flight takes off from New Jersey Airport and lands at Singapore's Changi Airport. This flight operates non-stop for 18 hours, covering a distance of 15,350 kilometers. But do you know which is the shortest flight in the world, where it operates, and how long it takes? Let's find out. The shortest flight in the world operates between 2 Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers a distance of just 2.7 kilometers and reaches its destination in only 1 minute and 30 seconds. Subscribe for more amazing information. These watches have the most amazing way of showing time. One of them even appears to have a man trapped inside for 8 years who lines up every minute to show the time. The first watch is the Waterfall watch located in Brno, Czech Republic. It uses water to display the current time by forming the digits with falling water, making it truly unique among all watches. The second watch is in Amsterdam, displayed at an airport in the Netherlands. It shows a man seemingly locked inside updating the time. However, it's actually a pre-recorded video featuring the famous Dutch actor Maarten Bass. Creating this video took him 3 full days, and it has been running in a continuous loop ever since. If you found this information interesting, don't forget to subscribe. As soon as the brakes were applied on this motorcycle in 2 scenarios, it skidded out of control in one while remaining steady in the other. This is actually a demonstration of the anti-lock braking system, or ABS, in action. In a panic situation, when standard brakes are slammed, the wheels get locked up, causing the vehicle to skid and lose any steerability, especially on slippery surfaces. But with ABS, the system sends pulsating brake pressure to the calipers, preventing the wheels from fully locking up, and even allowing the rider to steer while braking. This controlled braking without skidding is how ABS has saved millions of lives.